Next.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, they actually just recently cut their HOA fees.
Yeah,
Their reserves were in such good shape that they cut them by, what was it, 15%?
Yeah,
yeah.
they just finished what we did, basically.
That's what Rick wants to do. He wants to cut everything.
No, not cut, just hold steady,
No.
perhaps, Because we did, you did all the hard work. I just got here.
Mm.
I don't have to face people.
Now you do.
Yeah, I know now.
Mm.
And hence when I do, I say, nah, we shouldn't have raised it. But it'll shake out. We know what we gotta do and, right, do the budget. Gonna
Good
deal.
morning, everybody.
Hey,
morning,
Barry.
Barry.
Morning, Barry.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Is the owl?
Good morning, everyone.
I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I don't hear any volume. Let's see.
Is it on?
It is on.
It's all the way.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear
Okay.
us?
We can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
So is there like an owl interface?
I'm looking now. Settings.
I can hear you and see you if that matters. Just if you're
Yeah,
trying to
it's
figure out
just,
whether
it's all
people can.
coming through Julie's computer instead of through the owl, so the audio isn't great here in the room, but we don't have anyone in the room, so.
No, you do have people in the room. I can see all of you. Those are people, Anne.
Yeah, this may be a rather intimate little board meeting.
Okay. Say something, Mary Lou.
I'm sorry.
Hey.
Good
Just want me to say something, something.
And is Rosa going to be there?
I think so.
By Zoom, I believe.
Okay.
Skip,
You
are you
asking for the
completing your
minutes?
minutes already?
What?
Are you completing your minutes already?
I'm filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
Skip, it looks as though it's cold where you are. Is it?
This morning I woke up and it was, I think, in the upper 50s, but it warms up quickly. But no, this morning, and I'm going to be on mute for most of the time because I have noisy construction work going on here, which of course I'm used to from being in Ocean Trail.
Okay. We'll give it another minute. We may have a 0 attendance in the room.
Wow, yeah.
561. No, Carla will be here. Carla
I
always
don't,
comes.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Usually her and Jean for sure, right?
Right, I did see Jean. By the way, if you're online, there's 2 of you that we can't identify, and you're getting a private message right now, so.
Just Todd.
Oh, okay. All right, so you have one of them. And then there's another one. So please check your messages. Julie is reaching out to you to make sure we know who you are. It's DE06455, whoever that is. Your camera's off and we don't know who you are. So please let Julie know who you are so you don't get disconnected. Okay. Hi, guys. Can you find a seat okay? Yeah. Okay, we have Frank and Laura here. So our sole attendees, here's Jean. Okay, guys, help yourself to a handout here. Okay, it's 10 o'clock, so I'm going to start the meeting. Good morning. So in advance, if you are online and not a board member, please put yourself on mute. Same with the phones in the room. I'm calling the meeting to order. As you know from prior meetings, this meeting is being recorded, and the protocol to follow for anyone who speaks during the meeting is that you'll have deemed to have consented to the recording. This is a reminder that there is a chat feature in Zoom. It's at the bottom of your screen. If you have a question online and you'd like to have it answered, put it in the chat because we'll monitor the chat and answer them probably at the end of the meeting when we have the Q&A. And finally, we do ask that you keep your comments and questions limited to issues that affect all owners. So if you have individual issues with your particular unit or your particular situation, we will stay around after the meeting as long as it takes to talk to all of you who have that. But we do ask when you talk in the meeting, it is something pertaining to everyone. All right, moving on to establishing a quorum. We're going to go around and introduce ourselves on the board. I'm Ann Canna, president. Barry?
Barry Skolnick, Vice President.
Richard Gabono, treasurer. Oops.
Oops, go ahead.
Skip Cornelius, secretary.
Thomasina Mastriani, board member.
Howie Levine, board member.
And Steve Morris, board member.
Okay, thank you. We do have a quorum. In terms of proof of notice of the meeting, it was timely posted and emailed to all owners on Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026. In terms of approval of the minutes of the board meeting held last month, June 26th, do I have a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and to approve them?
So moved.
Motion.
Steve moves.
I'll second.
Sina seconds. Is there any discussion? No, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. All right, we're going to move on to the regular agenda. First up is the treasurer's report.
Okay.
We're going to share that on the screen.
There we go. Share. Okay, so it's the same standard format that we use for this report and running through the revenues. This is kind of a mid-year thing, so it's kind of high. This is June 30th, so you can see where we sit basically halfway through. You'll see owner's assessments. You'll see the reserve and a special assessment. We call it income, but as you know, that's what we call what we collect from our owners. And then the other revenue consists of various miscellaneous things. Go into the reserve and special assessment income. Same thing you hear every month. 67,000 a month towards reserves, both operating the SERS and non-SERS. So we said that structural and non-structural. And then the other revenue includes unbudgeted reserve interest. That's why we're really ahead. And of course, that will trail off as we pay. And that's coming up now, the remainder of our concrete restoration fees that we owe. On the expense side, not much has changed from previous reports. On the first line, in terms of administrative, we ended up with an $18,000 tax bill, income tax bill. I said last time it's 30% of our, non-exempt, I guess, non-exempt income, but we're an association, we're nonprofit. We're not supposed to be making a lot of money other than our coming from our owners. And so we ended up with revenue from the antenna on the tower and a lot of interest on our reserves. And so we ended up paying $18,000 in income tax. That was offset by, less legal fees, the delay in updating the website and various other pieces that we may get to before the end of the year, and that'll sort of change the dynamics on this. But for the most part, you can see we were pretty much right on. Property insurance, you know, there's the savings in there. That's why you know, that changed from prior years, I guess. Utilities year to date, we've paid out 95 when we budgeted 87 at this point in our year, halfway through the year. That may be a seasonal difference, like the amount of money we spend on electricity, maybe in connection with running the pool and heating the pool, and other things. Contracts, we're okay for now, but we can start to see increases falling in between now and the end of the year that are just built into the contract. They're allowed to increase it. And that could change that. Salaries and compensation, you know, again, we're ahead there. We've only spent 210 when we budgeted 233 at this point in the year, but the savings is still stemming from the lack of having full staff on board at January 1st. Landscaping, as we discussed last time, that's some portico improvements in terms of the landscaping out there. Repairs and maintenance, overall, we're under budget, but we're over budget in both fire suppression and the security system. And prior year expense, don't ask me what that is, but someday I'd like to get rid of it off our books, but for now, it's always going to be there just to make the thing balance. And then again, special assessment comes in on the revenue side, comes out on the expense side because it's how we're not allowed to spend it. And so anyway, that brings us to basically at this point at a net income of 27,000 halfway through the year. Let's see, we halfway through, our financial performance remains solid and both operating and reserve expenditures track closely to budget. I can take no credit for that. I'll leave that to our prior treasurer and our prior president. On the cash standpoint, but this is as of this week, 20th of July 20th, you'll see the operating cash, 229,000, reserves, 1,000,009, special assessment, 335,000, for a total cash of 2,516,000. And then in terms of receivables, we are collected everything, but we're still collecting $477 is still outstanding, less than 60 days due, and it's kind of just collecting some miscellaneous fees that were needed to be collected. Reserves at expected level, spring assessment funds were collected at, and the next one coming for 9/1. Lastly, payments coming due. There's the fall special assessment, just like we did in May. We're going to have another one in September. That'll finish all that off. And then the regular quarterly assessment for October 1st. Any questions? All right, way too many hands up right now for me to answer. Okay, so then if I can move to my next agenda item.
The audit.
So good. Okay. Great. So as you all know, we every year we have an obligation by law to come up and have our the financial statements audited. It's due by June 30th, and we got it done June 30th. The results of that, it is already posted on the owner's website, Can Connect. And you can go in there and look, and we even have, I've gotten questions from some owners. So we know people look at it, makes me feel good. But I thought I could just quickly cover in just, you know, big picture type of, in a big picture way, you know, the results of the audit. So, and give you a little bit of insight into the most important part to read. So anyway, first of all, it's a clean audit. That's not a technical term, but that's what's used in the industry. The accountants have provided assurance that the association's financial statements are materially accurate. And I'll point out, as they do all the time, doesn't mean that because they audit it that there's a guarantee, there's no errors in there or fraud. But with respect to errors, it's certainly not going to be material. If there are if there are errors, it's going to be very minor kind of deal. And fraud, it's not like they don't look for it, because they do a sampling of the invoices that we pay. And they make sure everything sort of tracks, that we actually receive the goods or service, and that, Kurt will sign off on it, and then it runs through 2 board members, and then Julie gets the bill paid. So that's all part of the audit, looking at all of that, but no auditor is ever going to tell you there can be no errors, or that, that they're going to be responsible for fraud. Total assets, this is, remember, 12/31/2025. So it's total assets with 3,000,009, not 94, 3.9 million. Cash on hand was 2.76 million. And all of the loan that we took out originally was for the pool, was paid off in 2025. So we have no more debt on the books of the association. Looking at the total assets, I just point out to everyone, these are the financial statements of the association. So the first thing, and all of this is fund accounting. So it's a little bit different than the normal, generally accepted accounting principle type of accounting. We have generally accepted accounting principles in connection with fund accounting, but they are really kind of very different in how we sort of account for things. Like a good example is, how is it we're taking special assessment in a revenue and taking it out in expense? It's those kind of things that could get kind of confusing when you're looking at the audit. And well, why isn't there a value for the building? Never mind that we all own our individual units, but then we all own collectively 138, 1/38 of the whole building and the ground it sits on. That's not going to be in these, because all these financial statements are the association's financial statements. So with that in mind, I think the most valuable way to look at the financial statements, read the footnotes. There is like a wealth of knowledge you will gain from just reading those footnotes. Because, the numbers are the numbers, but the accountants will explain all that's behind those numbers in the footnotes. So anyway, expenses came in under budget, reserves increased, and are compliant with Florida condominium law. We put it in. We're not allowed to take it out for something else, although we do use a concept of pool reserves. The bottom line is you can no longer, in the state of Florida, mix operating and reserves. Reserves are set aside now for mostly structural integrity. Anyway, special assessments, the accountants looked at all that, and they were used as exactly as they were intended, and they signed off. The institution is financially sound, and that's sort of the concept of going concern. So with that, if I had any questions from owners or even other board members, I would be happy to entertain those.
Again, if you'd like to ask a question, just drop it in the chat and we're monitoring that.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
Madam
I just
President.
want to thank Rick. The audit, yes, we do have a professional auditing company that does the audit for us. It is a tremendous amount of work to do the audit, because they go line by line, item by item. Rick brings his bank regulator and CPA skills to the table in doing that, and I am extremely appreciative. Well, that I didn't have to do it this year.
Yeah,
But-
that's
yeah. but that we have the skills that we do. So
Yes.
many thanks for all the hours that you spent on that.
I appreciated your help on getting it through. So thank you.
Yep. All right, moving on to the building update. Barry, would you like to take us through that?
Sure. No problem at all. Good morning, everybody. Just want to give an update on the state of the building, where we are. As everybody knows, our concrete restoration project has been closed out 100%. So we're moving away from that, and now we're working on some other things within the building. One of the things is we're attending to doing some minor repairs on the roof, which is normal repair. We want to get ahead of that before we get into hurricane season. So we're doing some analysis and doing some minor repairs on the roof. Nothing major, and that's being done. Another thing is we're almost completed with the additional security cameras that we've put on site. Most of them have been installed. They're going to be finishing them up within the next week or so. So we've added 5 additional cameras, 3 in the pool area, 1 in the package room, and 1 in the gym. That's to protect the association and also to monitor what's going on within the building. So that's moving along quite well. No questions, no comments on that. The next one is the pool and spa lights. I know everybody wants to get away from that red color, and we want to get to a more neutral color of yellow. I can tell you that Kurt has been working very diligently with the pool company, trying to come up with that magic yellow. It's not a problem for the pool. It's more of an issue trying to get the spa light to have the same color as the yellow that's going to be in the pool. We thought we had it, but it didn't. We tested it last week, and it didn't give us the right color that we were looking for. So we're still working on it. We will continue working on it until we get the right color combination that will be the same color for the spa as for the pool. So that's something we're working on. I should have more information at the next board meeting on the status, or the people that are there should be able to see if it's been successful. One other thing we're looking at and working on it is the new salt controller for the spa. If everybody's that's there, we've had some issues with the chemical balance in the spa due to the chlorine and the salt concentration on that. We've been working diligently to balance it, and we have to come to we've exhausted everything that we can do. We're going to have to replace the controller, which we're in the process of doing it. It's more critical for the spa than the pool because the amount of water in the pool is greater, so it's not as temperamental as the spa. But it's an ongoing project. We thought we had a solution to it, but we're still working on it to come up with a long-term solution on it. Next thing is we're working on changing the lights in the breezeway and the rec room area. There were about 10 lights total to be replaced. We have a new design. It kind of looks really cool. It's more updated than what we had prior. We've replaced 6 of them so far, and I think there's about 4 or 5 left to complete the project on it. So that's moving along. But basically, the summer projects are being completed. A lot of maintenance, a lot of painting gets done over the summertime when it's quiet, when it's not as intrusive to the unit owners. They're diligently working. Kurt and his staff of people, and Julie is running the ship on it. So thank you to the maintenance staff and to Julie for keeping our building beautiful and maintaining it up to the standards it deserves. So basically that's what's going on with the building. Any questions or comments? So, okay, thank you.
Oh, we have a question in the room. Yeah. Do you want to come here
Yeah.
so they can hear you online? Just say who you are, your unit.
Hi, it's Frank Alessio, 703. I'd like to know, do we have warranty on any of this spa stuff?
I can answer that question. We had a pool company, Van Kirk Pools, that was the installer of all this equipment, and basically they've left the project, and we basically have no warranties on anything left. The board has worked diligently, prior board has worked diligently They inherited a lot of this stuff, and I can tell you there's a lot of time and effort by the board and by the prior board president in satisfying some of these deficiencies we had. A lot of them were satisfied, a couple of them weren't, and this is one of the ones that wasn't under a warranty at the point.
I just want to add, when you were talking about the breezeway and rec room area lights, we want to thank Carolyn Carilli. She's the one who found the beautiful lights that we have now. Everyone who's seen them is very appreciative of the improvement that they are. So Carolyn, many thanks for your design eye in picking out those lights. Okay, so that was the building update. We're moving on to the next agenda item, capital projects.
Okay, my name's Steve Morris. I'll be giving an update on the capital projects, and there are three things I'll be touching on today. The first one that I'll discuss is the elevator landing refresh. That project has been broken into two phases. The first phase is replacement of the windows that are in the elevator landings, as well as the windows that are beside them in the storage rooms that are on each floor in the landings. We have interviewed and had face-to-face meetings with 5 different vendors, discussed our desires and limitations with them. From those 5, we received 3 proposals, and from those 3 proposals, we have selected 2 finalists. We have conducted our own internal review of those proposals, and because of the significance and importance of the windows and compliance with county and city codes, we have asked our engineering company, ACG, to review those proposals and give us their opinions as well. They were scheduled to give us that report today. We did receive it, and we're in the process of looking at that right now. So I hope that next week we'll be able to make a final decision and move ahead with getting the contract awarded and the replacement of those windows initiated. The second part of the landing refresh, of course, is interior design work. And that work is not going to be initiated until we have the window replacement taken care of, just so we don't damage anything that's just been refreshed. The way it looks right now, it's unlikely that we're going to be able to start that work before the end of this construction season, which is in November. So that's probably going to get punted until next year. The good side of that is that this gives our design team more time to put together options and plans that we can then present to the ownership for a vote. So we're still working with the design team on that, and we'll be getting that out sometime over the winter so that we can have everything ready to go when the construction season starts next May. The second thing I'll mention is the garage doors. That's a refresh project that we have been working on for quite a while. We've hit a little bit of a rough spot with that one because the systems that we currently have in there are very old. Almost all the hardware needs to be replaced, and that's what we're working on right now. The availability of some of those parts has been determined to be problematic. There simply are not parts that are available. So we're going to have to do a lot more replacement work than we were originally considering. The additional work has been proposed to the people that were going to do the work. We haven't been able to finalize that yet. So right now, aside from no news, there's no really update on that one. The third thing I'll mention is our capital improvement plan. We have a SIRS report, the structural report that identifies various projects in the building and proposes a time frame for getting those done and an estimate for completing the work. We have analyzed that SIRS report, and we're trying to prioritize the projects that are in there. We're looking at that a couple different ways. The first way is just based on urgency, and the second way is to minimize the impact of any additional funding requirements that are developed. So we don't come right out of the gate and hit ownership with more big assessments. So those are the two orthogonal approaches we're taking to trying to develop this capital plan. It's a schedule that will identify things to be done over the next 3 years and the next 5 years. Best case scenario would include a 10-year plan, but things change so rapidly that I'm not sure that we're going to get to an actual 10-year plan. But we do want to have a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan that will at least benchmark the projects that we want to do so that we can, try to prioritize, like I said, things that are urgent and minimize the impact on the pocketbooks of the owners. That's my report. We want to wait for questions until the end, or?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
We'll wait till the end. But thank you. And many thanks to Steve. So Steve is the leader of the elevator landing window effort and has been coordinating all 5 of the vendors, done the analysis to help us level those bids. It also is a lot of work behind the scenes. So many thanks for the work that you've been doing on that and to help us get to the finish line. As Steve alluded, we are trying to make a decision in the next week to 2 weeks. We're going to schedule, that decision will need to be made at an open board meeting. So we will probably schedule a board meeting for the sole purpose of discussing the final decision and making the vote in front of owners. So that will be scheduled. Okay, moving on to the legal update, Sina, and then we need to share Sina's documents.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to report that after our initial meeting, we've the initial review of the governing documents, the bylaws, the declaration, the articles of incorporation, we've gone through that. We've made some changes, some corrections, and we're going through another read through, and hopefully we will soon be able to have that final draft for review by the attorney and to present to the owners for your feedback. So that's on the governing documents. I'm happy to report on the compliance committee. At the last meeting, the board approved the establishment of a compliance review committee to establish policy and proceedings that should be followed. We've worked on that, and we've established a formal procedures for the compliance review committee. So we have 2 documents. One is the owner review that kind of explains everything. And I just want to point out that what we've put into the procedures and the requirements, we follow the statutes, Florida statute for condominiums. So we didn't make up time frames, fine amounts. We followed the statute. So just so that going over what they put on there to explain, the compliance committee is a neutral body. Its job is to give affected person an opportunity to be heard and to decide whether the fine or the suspension that's been recommended by the board should be confirmed or rejected. So I want to make it clear that what the committee does. It reviews a sanction that's recommended by the board. It listens to the association's information. It allows the owner or the other person that's to present their defense. And then the committee will vote to either confirm or reject the sanction. It bases its decision on the facts that are presented. The committee does not investigate the complaints. You don't become the association watchdog. You don't create new violations or penalties, and you cannot increase or decrease the otherwise change a sanction that's recommended by the board. And you don't replace the board. So the committee member, they will take what the board has recommended, and after hearing from the other side, either they will recommend and approve the board's fine or sanction, or they can reject it. So the committee is comprised of at least 3 members. So that's to ensure independence. You cannot be association officers, directors, employees, and other close relatives as we set forth in the procedure. So how does this process work? First, the board acts first. They're on a properly noticed board meeting. They're going to, after reviewing everything, they will levy a proposed fine or a sanction to the person that's involved. Then a written notice is sent to the unit owner or any person, the tenant, guest, or whoever is the subject of the sanction. And they will get at least 14 days notice of the proposed sanction and the hearing. Then the committee holds a hearing. The person receiving the notice may attend and explain their circumstance, present documents, and respond to the violation. And the association can also present information. Then the committee will vote. They may only confirm or reject the sanction. A majority of the committee must vote to confirm it. If it's not confirmed, the sanction is rejection. Then a written notice will be sent to the person. So then we lay out what's expected at the hearing and for the owners to understand. So we're asking that the parties of the owners look at this and get them to vote on that. So we've also provided the statutory provisions, and that is an outline that's attached to the material. And in detail, it provides the process and the procedures that are going to be followed. Once the compliance committee are approved, then we're going to reach out to you, the owners, for volunteers to serve on the committee. I believe that Mary Lou has volunteered to be one of the committee members. So we're going to accept people to volunteer. We need a person who's fair-minded and objective, able to maintain confidentiality, willing to review facts carefully, be patient and respectful, and be impartial and non-judgmental. So any interested owners may contact the office or Skip. We need 3 committee members, and we also will need some alternates in the event the committee member is unavailable for a meeting. So if you're interested, please reach out. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
So again, we'll leave the chat open if anybody has any questions or comments on this. So these 2 documents have been quite a bit of work that Sina led the way. Sina worked on with Mary Lou, Rick, and myself, and developed these to make sure that they are understandable, to make sure that they comply with the statute. We did run this by our attorney to make sure that they are compliant. And again, the goal is we hope we never have to use the committee. We hope that the committee will be bored and will never have anything to do. But we do have occasions where we have repeat offenders with various issues that it affects the quality of our experience here. So we want to have a tool, and that's all it is, a tool in the tool belt to handle rule violations as they come up. So with that in mind, I do encourage owners to consider volunteering for the committee. We're very fortunate that Mary Lou is offering to lead the way. And when Mary Lou's involved, it's going to be fair, objective, and a reasonable process that you would want to be a part of. So I encourage owners to reach out to Julie or to Skip and to indicate your willingness. And if you have any questions after the meeting, you can funnel them through them as well, and we'd be happy to answer those. So please consider putting your name in the hat for that. Okay. So that's it for the legal update. Moving on to OTUOA, which is the Master Association. Tina?
Yes, some updates for July. We have a new interim manager for 201, and his name is Jonathan Spatz. And you can contact him at the usual manager email and phone number. The community, for those of you who are here, have noticed there is roof work going on at the cabana for the community pool. After a couple of weeks weather-related delay with the heat here and some storms, they are now working on there very diligently, and they're pretty far along. So we're hoping that the community pool I especially hope that the community pool will reopen very soon. And you will get an email from Campbell when that happens. So hopefully next week sometime that will happen. For those of you who are looking forward to the bocce court, we had to file a addendum to the permit request, which added a little bit of time, but the contractor is standing by, and as soon as we get the okay from TOJ, they'll start working. They have all the materials, and the good news is that he expects this only to take 2 days. So by August, the bocce court should be operational. Pickleball and tennis court recode, and as you know, we're adding permanent pickleball courts, which will make many of you happy. So we have to have some additional discussion and another vote at the upcoming meeting, and that is hopefully happening in the first week of August for OTUOA. To finalize the court surface proposal and hopefully choose a contractor. A member vote will be coming your way. So I'm channeling Mary Lou here and saying, if you see a condu email in your mailbox, pay attention to that, because an owner vote is required because we're proposing to change the color of the fencing. So the current fencing, which, as you probably will agree, needs replacing and updating, is green. But in the new proposed color scheme, we're proposing black as the new color. But that is a material change. So when that email comes, please vote. All of you vote so that we have a valid decision. And as soon as that goes out, I will let everybody know so that reminders go out as well. So please do that so that we can get moving on the tennis and pickleball court project, which I'm sure you'll all want to enjoy. We don't have a firm timeline yet, but we're hoping that by the end of the year, those will be done. Everything will be done in that area. I mentioned to you last month that we have a group that's working on the process harmonization for ESAs, for the service animal approval, and that team convened for the first time on July 1st. Since then, there's been document sharing from across the buildings, what's in the current rules. And that group now has collected all the information and is working on a harmonized draft document. An update on the land survey and the estuary work. If you haven't stayed on top of that, on the perimeters of our very nice property, we have a lot of plants. We have an estuary, and we have some invasive plant species like Australian pines, for example. And there's efforts all across Florida, but also in our county and in the town of Jupiter, to make sure that we remove invasive species and we protect the estuaries and the dune landscape, which protects all of us when there's storms, etc. We had to do extensive survey work to establish where our property boundary is. And Wallace had to come back and do some actual physical measurements in the estuary, which was very laborious. That was done. And then we had a follow-up visit from the town of Jupiter last week on July 20th. And several board members walked around with the town of Jupiter representatives and basically, I wouldn't say inventoried, but surveyed what the scope of the plants is that are in the remediation scope. Now, what we're going to discuss at the next board meeting is how to approach this, because it's not just our issue, but on the side that's facing, on the north side, for example, the estuary development is our neighbor, and part of the other neighbor is town of Jupiter land. So one of the things we are going to consider is trying to make sure that whatever work is done is all done at the same time, to keep the costs the most manageable for everybody, because at least the initial landscape remediation or biotope remediation is going to be considerable. But then, so we want to minimize the costs and the effort that go into it by hopefully coordinating this with all the involved parties. So more to come on that, but all the measurements are done, the survey is done, and the dialogue with the town of Jupiter is ongoing. And that's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so that is it for old business. We're going to move on to new business. The first order of new business is to vote to ratify proposals. Now, these were included in your agenda that you received via email. You did get copies of all of the proposals. You can see by the number of them how much work has been happening here. And this is by design that this work happens during the summer. Everything here is a necessary repair, improvement, maintenance item. So there's really no discretionary items here. And when the items get to be larger costs, like the Crowther roofing proposal, we do bid them out. So just so you know, when it gets to a certain size, these are bid out, compared, and assessed by Julie, by Barry. We all take a look at it and make these decisions who to go with. So that being said, we do have a number of proposals to approve. Barry, would you like to make a motion?
Yes. So I'd like to make a motion to approve all of the contracts that are listed under the vote to ratify. Motion.
Thank you, Barry. Do we have a second? Skip is seconding. Is there any discussion among the board regarding these proposals? Is there any discussion among owners or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, we're going to move on to the second item of new business, and that's the vote to accept the Compliance Review Committee documents. Again, these were attached to your agenda for your review. We did show the owner overview on the screen. Before we make a motion to pass these documents, Mary Lou, I just wanted to circle back to you. Is there anything that you wanted to add? Because I realized we didn't give you a chance to speak, and you were integrally involved in the development of these documents. You're on mute still. Are you able to unmute, Mary Lou?
No, I can only ask her to unmute. I can't unmute her.
So we can't
I'll
hear you.
unmute.
There you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, no, I don't really have anything to add except to confirm what Ann said. We hope this is a committee that will never have to function. We hope people will just obey the rules. And as Ann said, we'll live in peace and harmony. And this will be a committee that will have no function. But if we have to function, we obviously want to have good volunteers that will help to project the fairness of the committee. We want owners to understand that that's what we most want to do: be fair, be impartial, be respectful, and that kind of thing. That's it. Thanks, Ann.
Okay, thanks, Mary Lou. All right, Sina, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that the board approves the homeowners, just get the Compliance Review Committee owner overview, as well as the procedures as set forth in the documents attached to the board's notice.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Rick, second. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion in the room or online? Seeing none.
Were you gonna ask for volunteers? Because we could put the arm on these.
We could.
These
yeah.
people.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. All right, so that's it for new business. We will now move into questions and comments by owner. Again, please keep your questions and comments limited to issues that affect all owners. If you have an issue specific to your unit, we will stay as long as we need to after the meeting to discuss those with you. And for those online, you can raise your hand or better yet, drop your comment in the chat. So do we have any questions or comments by owners? quiet bunch.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's a
Okay.
fair amount of people online.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mhm. Very good.
Okay, all right, seeing none, we will move to adjourn, but before we adjourn, this is a reminder.
And
Yes,
and-
Skip,
there is a question in the chat.
oh, it just came up, thank you.
Oh,
Okay, so the first question is, will Sina's slides be attached to the minutes? Yes. That is that we will attach those. Question from Melanie regarding the compliance committee. If fines are levied and collected, what happens to that money? What will it be used for? So it simply goes into the association account. It's part of our cash position. It will be reflected as a surplus. So there is no designated use for it. It will simply be part of the association's assets, and the budget gets decided in the coming year and the assets that we have on hand are always part of that calculation, but there is no assigned purpose for what that money is used for. It just goes into the association account, which of course belongs to all owners. Melanie, I hope that covered that.
Yeah, and it was all attached, right? Because I think they were saying, hey, the slide's gonna be available?
Yeah,
But the documents are,
the documents
Yeah.
were attached to the agenda, but the slides are going to be attached to the minutes. Okay, so I don't see any more questions online. Okay, so before we adjourn, our next scheduled meeting is Friday, September 25th. Everybody's off for August, except for the fact that we're going to call a special meeting solely for the purpose of approving an elevator landing window vendor. That'll be probably one purpose for the meeting. It'll be very brief and it should be within the next week or two. So if you are interested in hearing that discussion, come to that. Otherwise, a regular board meeting will be September 25th. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
second,
Okay, Barry moved, Rick seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
I.
Signify.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we gotta get the electricians back to work because they're probably charging us. By the hour.